I have other videos covering the fretting and fret dressing process in much greater detail. However, the basics are thus. Make sure your fretboard is perfectly flat, i.e. adjust the truss rod until everything is looking right. You mark the frets off with permanent marker and then go over the tops carefully with a flat fretting file. Any black marker that you still see shows a low fret or a low spot on a fret, and you work until you get rid of that. Then re-mark up every fret and profile away. There are custom-made profiling files with a concave curve on the edge that do a good enough job. I don't like them because there's not very much control. Either they're too big and you cut into the fretboard, or they're too small and you cut a very weird omega type shape into your fret, and in the process you lose the top and therefore create a low spot on the fret, which is exactly what you don't want. Finally, after removing any scratches from the file using dry, wet and dry paper, a few grades thereof, I buff every fret to a high gloss. It makes an incredibly comfortable playing guitar, and that is the most important thing you could have. This is the user interface, and it needs to be absolutely spot on. In the fret leveling and profiling process, the masking tape has been removed and added to as necessary, and inevitably there's a little bit of gunk left over. Also, as the fretboard has just had the masking removed from the lacquer process, and that stayed on there for a couple of weeks. So I use lighter fluid or naphtha to clean up the fretboard and just remove any gunk that's been left. And finally, the first of many coats of lemon oil. This is effectively just paraffin oil with the scent of a lemon. However, it's very thin, it penetrates very well, and is the industry standard. There's nothing worse than a dried out fretboard. Finally, the time has come to start fitting hardware. I've decided to use a brass nut in this case. It's simply that it sounds more even. The frets are made out of nickel silver, and there's no silver, it's basically nickel and brass. So your open notes will sound the same or similar to your fretted notes, and thus the whole guitar will sound more even. Tone is a very personal thing though, and some people, many people, prefer bone or ivory. Some people even like plastic. The brass is definitely harder to work, and it makes for an interesting guitar. And after all, we are custom guitar builders. A little drop of super glue holds the nut in place. Just make sure that if somebody ever does take all of the strings off, it's not going to get lost. And there you have it, a lovely custom brass nut.
Bareknuckle pickups. Neck. For some reason he decided not to label them. That's the neck.
Direct mounted pickups sound better. We're not quite sure why, but I think that it has something to do with the fact that basically the pickups are fixed to the body, and the body then is slightly denser and slightly heavier, as opposed to the pickups being suspended by a spring from a piece of plastic.
Okay. Nice. That's fine. Basically, there are supposed to be, these are supposed to be 500k pots. In practice, the manufacturers make them with a plus or minus 10% variation. Therefore, it could be 450 or 550 or anywhere in between. But while geeks believe that it makes a major difference to the sound, I utterly disagree. That's Earth, red is live, that's neck. We're not quite finished yet. You can't call it a guitar if you can't hold it properly. I do declare this guitar finished. I need a strap. I'm knackered. This is a really crappy practice amp. My lovely big valve amp is currently blown up.